Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Islands.
And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances and that have been named freak-offs.
Today's news is nothing short of shocking, a bombshell that caught everyone off guard. Just a few hours ago, the judge reversed his decision, and Sean Diddy Combs, the man at the center of one of the most scandalous legal sagas in recent memory, has been released on bail. That's right after spending a week behind bars facing charges that led many to believe he would never see freedom again. Diddy is now a free man, and it's not just any bail, it's reportedly a staggering amount. But what does that really mean for a billionaire? For him, it's likely just pocket change, which has everyone buzzing.
That clearly there is a criminal investigation underway, and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
This development has sparked outrage among many, especially the victims who believed that justice was finally being served. They thought Diddy's time had come, that the nightmare was over, and that he would finally face consequences for his actions. Now, it feels like a gut punch. The disbelief is tangible. Can you imagine the scene? Insiders report that Diddy was quietly whisked away and is already settling back into the comforts of his lavish mansion while everyone else is left reeling. It's as if the entire justice system simply doesn't care.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras.
But here's the thing, as surprising as this news is, perhaps it was inevitable. Maybe this was always part of the plan. If you've been following the story closely, you might have noticed some unusual details surrounding Diddy's arrest. From the very beginning, he didn't seem caught off guard. In fact, he walked right into it.
This took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs.
How many high-profile figures have you seen voluntarily turn themselves in, completely unfazed, with a demeanor that suggests they know something the rest of us don't? Diddy arrived for his arrest as if he had been tipped off that it wouldn't be a big deal. There was no attempt to flee or hide, despite having the means to vanish completely if he wanted to.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail.
He sat in custody, exuding confidence, perhaps even smugness, while the rest of the world believed his empire was crumbling. Now, with this bail, it feels as though he's signaling to everyone that he's got everything under control.
The story we're tracking, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs on side watch at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after 2 judges denied his request for bail. This as a grand jury is expected to hear new testimony from workers very soon. Good day, Suzanne.
And the most jaw-dropping part? Rumors are circulating that Diddy's ability to seemingly brush off these charges is due to him working with the FBI all along. Yes, you heard that correctly. Insiders are starting to suggest that he's been an informant for decades, providing information to authorities in exchange for his freedom. It's a theory that starts to make a disturbingly logical sense when you consider how many times Diddy has avoided serious legal repercussions over the years.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap.
Whether it's past altercations, controversies surrounding his business dealings, or personal disputes, he always emerges unscathed, almost as if he's untouchable.
With this newest lawsuit, this would probably only expedite or increase the amount of allegations and potential witnesses who could testify against Sean Combs.
This is where things start to get really intriguing. If Diddy has indeed been working for the FBI, it would explain a lot about his career, especially the parts that seem off. For years, people have questioned how someone with so much controversy surrounding him has managed to remain at the top, untouched by the kinds of scandals that would ruin other celebrities. The answer might be that he's been playing a double game, acting as a key player in the entertainment industry while secretly reporting to the authorities. If that's true, it means Diddy has been divulging secrets not just about himself, but also about others in the industry, potentially people even more powerful than he is.
This is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
It's chilling to consider. Insiders are now suggesting that many of the searches conducted at Diddy's properties in recent months weren't even focused on him. Instead, authorities might have been looking for evidence implicating other high-profile individuals, people who, like Diddy, are entrenched in circles of wealth, fame, and influence.
Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
There's speculation that Diddy's extravagant parties weren't just about indulgence, they served as a way for him to gather dirt on those around him. His famous gatherings, which attracted A-list celebrities, could have been part of a much larger scheme. After all, when you're at a party, you're relaxed and your guard is down. If someone like Diddy has a reputation for recording events, who knows what compromising footage he might have accumulated over the years?
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
This theory becomes even more unsettling when you consider how many celebrities and influential figures have crossed paths with Diddy. We're talking about some of the biggest names in the world, not just actors and musicians, but also politicians and business moguls who have all been in his orbit at some point. If Diddy has indeed been gathering intel on these individuals, it would give him tremendous leverage, essentially blackmail on a scale that's difficult to fathom. That's why some believe that Diddy's release on bail is just the beginning. This isn't a victory for him, it signals that the real power players are working behind the scenes, pulling the string.
He controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
If we're being honest, Diddy might just be a pawn in a much larger game. There are whispers that the real masterminds, those truly in control, remain in the shadows, untouchable. While Diddy is a billionaire with influence, he's small fry compared to the people who might be backing him. These are the players who never make headlines, operating behind the scenes and orchestrating moves that shield them from any fallout.
Allegations that have become shockingly familiar against Diddy in recent months, as he has faced lawsuit after lawsuit from women and men who have accused him of all manner of bad behavior.
It's entirely possible that Diddy is merely the face of a much larger operation, and his release is just the tip of the iceberg.
And I remember, like, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but like, I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
Now, let's examine some of the oddities in Diddy's career that make the informant theory seem credible. First, consider the numerous accusations that have accumulated against him. This isn't just about one or two incidents. We're looking at years of allegations ranging from personal conflicts to legal disputes, yet somehow Diddy always manages to come out unscathed.
What is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that? As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released.
Remember when Cassandra Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, filed a civil suit against him? The accusations were severe, involving everything from manipulation to orchestrating situations that implicated others. Yet, the very next day, Diddy settled the case just like that. It was over, and he was back to business as usual.
Basically what that means is the money that they're saying Diddy has to start paying this guy on October 1st, Diddy's team is like, hold on, we need an emergency conversation about why this should not have been granted. And they awarded him a TRO, which basically meant that Diddy's team was not allowed to sell any property in that state or anything related to what could be used.
It's the kind of power move that makes you question who is protecting him, or rather, what information he's using to protect himself.
We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Nice.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
Then there's the fact that federal agents raided his homes in Los Angeles and Miami earlier this year. Reports indicate they discovered a strange assortment of items, including numerous bottles of baby oil and other supplies associated with his infamous private events. But here's the kicker: despite all this, Diddy's legal team has remained completely confident, showing no signs of concern whatsoever.
Well, either way, if you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
In fact, his legal team has been celebrating the news that Diddy will likely walk away from this with nothing more than a slap on the wrist, a simple fine, or maybe a suspended sentence. It's the kind of outcome that raises questions. How can someone facing such serious accusations come out of it so unscathed? This is where the theory about Diddy's connections to law enforcement really starts to make sense. If Diddy has been working with the FBI, providing valuable information about others in exchange for protection, it would explain why he's managed to avoid real consequences for so long. He's been playing both sides, building his empire while feeding the authorities what they need to keep him safe. Now, with these recent charges, it seems he has once again leveraged the same connections that have kept him out of trouble for years. What's even more disturbing is that some of the accusations against Diddy involve more than just him. There's speculation that these events, which have become a focal point in the investigation, weren't merely about Diddy indulging his own desires. Instead, they may have been used to gather leverage over other celebrities and politicians.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors. Yeah, I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than...
Guests at these events may have believed they were simply attending another lavish night, but in reality, they could have been unknowingly providing Diddy with the ammunition he needed to keep them in check. It's no secret that in Hollywood and the world of big business, everyone is looking for an edge. If Diddy has been sitting on a treasure trove of incriminating material for years, it's no surprise he's been able to operate with such impunity. This is a man who has been accused of everything imaginable, yet he always manages to come out on top. The question is, how deep does this rabbit hole go, and more importantly, who else is involved?
That's not the issue. The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want.
Some believe that Diddy is just the tip of the iceberg, with the real power players, those pulling the strings, still lurking in the shadows. These are individuals who don't need to make public appearances or headline parties to control the narrative. They operate behind closed doors, ensuring their interests are protected at all costs. Diddy is just one of many in the game, collecting dirt, making deals, and perpetuating a cycle that benefits them all.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as it seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit.
What's truly unsettling is the possibility that we may never grasp the full extent of what's happening behind the scenes. If Diddy has indeed been acting as an informant, working with the FBI, then he's likely been supplying them with information about others in the industry for years. Celebrities, politicians, business leaders, anyone who has crossed his path could have been part of his game. Now that he's out on bail, it's evident that this story is far from over.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold, austere facility.
As Diddy retreats to his mansion, away from the public scrutiny, the question on everyone's mind is simple: what happens next? Will justice finally catch up to him, or will he continue to evade consequences, shielded by the very system meant to hold him accountable?
New at 5, the legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who said that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit in court.
And here's where things get even more intense. As Diddy relaxes in his mansion, likely sipping on an expensive drink, the victims are left horrified, scrambling for justice. Can you imagine the disbelief they must be feeling? They thought this was finally over. They believed that Diddy, a man who allegedly orchestrated one of the most elaborate networks of abuse in recent memory, would face consequences for his actions. But now, with him out on bail, the nightmare continues. What's happening behind the scenes is even more shocking. Lawyers representing the victims have already jumped into action, and reports indicate that many have contacted the FBI, demanding Diddy be returned to jail where many feel he belongs. A class action lawsuit is already in the works, poised to be massive, with dozens of victims uniting to ensure he doesn't evade accountability. This is shaping up to be one of the largest cases we've seen in the entertainment industry, and it's clear that legal teams are gearing up for an all-out battle. Let's take a step back and consider the scale of Diddy's alleged atrocities. These accusations didn't come out of nowhere. They've been bubbling beneath the surface for years. Ever since his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura filed that initial lawsuit last November, it's been like a dam has broken, unleashing a flood of accusations that haven't stopped since. But here's the thing: as serious as Cassie's story was, it was just the tip of the iceberg. Since then, a chilling number of victims have come forward, all sharing disturbingly similar experiences.
Dawn had the choice to file the case as a Jane Doe, and she chose not to do that after giving it a fair amount of thought.
She wants accountability. She wants justice.
Cassie's lawsuit, of course, is where it all started. She was with Diddy for over a decade, and during that time, she described a relationship that was entirely controlled by him. From forcing her into situations she couldn't escape to emotional and even physical manipulation, Cassie's claims are deeply disturbing.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records, label owner.
What's even more troubling is how these accusations have multiplied. In her lawsuit, Cassie detailed horrific encounters where she was coerced into facilitating or participating in disturbing acts, all under Diddy's watchful eye. The power dynamics and control are glaringly evident. What's particularly chilling is how Diddy allegedly used the industry as his playground, dangling her career over her head to ensure her compliance. This is someone who, at the peak of her fame, found herself trapped, with Diddy making sure there was no escape.
Clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Cassie's claims weren't isolated. Following her lawsuit, others came forward with similar accusations. Take Joey Dickerson Neal, for example, who spoke out just days after Cassie's bombshell. Joey recounted her experience from the early 90s when she was still a student. She said Diddy allegedly invited her out for what she thought would be a casual dinner, but things quickly took a dark turn. She described being coerced into a nightmare situation where she had no control. Just like that, another piece of the puzzle fell into place, revealing that Diddy's alleged actions span decades.